Greetings! Welcome to the Devlog for hot dogs, horseshoes, and hand grenades. We're going to start off as always with a quick sound check. Make sure your speakers aren't up too high. Wonderful. So what have we got for you this week? Well, we've got a bit of a preview for what is coming in our next update, which is going to be the 30th of this month, just in time for 4th of July. You don't get to see most of what's going on here, hence my nice stock footage caution under work sign blocking off most of the space, but I figured I would show you this week a bunch of the toys that are being worked on, some of which I know a few of you have been waiting for a long time for. So the first thing to show off, and just, you know, if you're wondering, wow, man, he seems pretty short this week. I am sitting for this. I managed to, this morning, out taking a walk, twist my ankle, so I am chair-bound at the moment, but I still think we should be able to do things just fine here. So, what do we have? We have the arrival, finally, of lever-action firearms. In this case, this is the M1887 lever-action shotgun. Let's go ahead and grab ourselves a shell to play with. Go ahead and spawn lock a few of those in. So, how does lever action work in H3? Well, I have attempted to map elements of its control scheme as close as possible to the way that you already have to handle pump shotguns. Namely, that we have to sort of grab the fore of the weapon, and to cycle the lever, we have to hold the trigger down on our alternate hand. It's as though we're sort of grabbing the foregrip tightly to be able to cycle the lever forward. So if I hold down this trigger, now as I rotate the firing hand, we can see that the lever cycles. And if I release the trigger on our non-dominant hand at any point, you can see the lever does not continue to move with this hand, which allows you to say, in the case of the 1887, open up the breech, take your firing hand off of it, grab some shells, chamber, loading tube down here, grab the handle of it. I can either pull the trigger here, or I can just click the touchpad on the firing hand to close the lever, and let's take ourselves a shot. Once again, cycling it, I pull the trigger on the non-dominant hand, pulling the lever open, and then closing it. Woo! Nasty ricochet on the triple hits here. I'd say they're a little preposterously dangerous. In case you're wondering why that's happened, it's because in the ballistic system, these are basically tempered steel, so they ricochet like crazy. Boom. Looks like I hit the rocking chair there. So yeah, so I know what your next question is going to be. Can we spin cock the weapon just like in Terminator 2? And I am happy to tell you that you most certainly can. Let's see if I get this right the first time. Beautiful. So the way that works is that if you're simply holding the firearm with one hand, by holding down the touchpad, the gun is capable of spinning just like revolvers are. Now, if you spin at a fairly slow speed, you're essentially, the lever doesn't open up. But if you spin with a fast gesture, the lever is actually able to open up during the spin and then close, which means that it requires a really, really sharp gesture, and in general, you want to make sure your hand is actually moving before you click the touchpad. Let's try doing it. Let's see, we did it I believe we did it backwards before. Let's try it forwards. Oh, see, that time I spun it, but I didn't get the lever to open. There we go. Backwards. Fantastic. So this control scheme also maps over to another sort of lever action antique we have here, which is the Volcanic. Look at this beauty here. Let's get those out of here. This one fires a really interesting and perhaps not terribly effective round, which is the 41 caliber Volcanic. This is actually a caseless round, in that basically there's a little cavity in the back of it that contains the powder and the primer. I assume one wouldn't want to necessarily hit this on something while it was fully loaded. And so the way that this works is that we basically flip open the loading gate with a simple trigger flip there. And then we load the rounds one at a time into this loading gate here. We can see the rounds present underneath the firearm. And then we, once again, we just pull the lever back, just like with the shotgun. You can see the round coming up there, then being chambered. Boom! Ah! The sights on this are not great, let me tell you. Man, I am shooting high. Let's try shooting lower. Oh, helps to actually have a round in there. Let's see how fast we can fire this. Fantastic. And there you have it. So that's the Volcanic. Obviously, this I know some of you might be being like, well, what's the use of a handgun that you have to use both hands on, as though it were a long gun firing this tiny little bullet? Well, clearly not much. I don't think these were actually terribly successful in their day, despite how absolutely beautiful they are and the sort of iconic character that they carry now. But I absolutely love it. Yay! We actually hit it that time. So yeah. So that is the Volcanic there. And then lastly, you might have seen this in the little preview image I had on our H3. We have a classic here. This is the SW Model 10. This was what was the cartridge eject model was what this was called, and this was pretty much the first really popularized revolver that did that. So you can imagine that being an absolute game changer in its heyday. Ah, pathetic. So there you have it. So that's what we got going on thus far. I'll be back next week to show you some more of what's going on here behind the giant yellow blocker, and of course teasing it. If you like to keep up with things on a daily basis, make sure you're stopping by our H3VR, as I'll be teasing a new image each day between now and the next devlog. Hope you all have a wonderful weekend. Peace.